So Tom, it's the 9th of September. We're here on what is a glorious day now. How's harvest been for you?
Harvest has been a bit of a long, drawn-out process. We probably about 350 hectares left, predominantly beans and late sort of spring crops. August has been a bit of a battle with the weather, but yeah, we're winning. We generally aim to try and put it all through one combine, and the fact that we've pretty much done that this year without any help tells us that we've probably got on pretty well.
Good. So I can remember about 18 months ago we started having a conversation with our dealer CLAAS AXION about changing your high horsepower wheeled machine, and here we are 12 months after having the Axion 960 TERRA TRAC on farm. How's she settled in?
Yeah, really well, to be honest. It replaced a 390 horsepower wheeled machine, which we were finding doing certain tasks, particularly when sharing implements with the Xerion, was struggling. So we wanted something to help reduce the hours we're putting onto the Xerion and reduce its workload, and being able to use its implements, as well as replacing and doing the jobs which that conventional 390 horsepower tractor did.
And nowadays, they're big investments. Did you look at anything else when you were looking at changing that high horsepower wheel machine?
We looked at a slightly bigger wheeled machine from the same stable, so like a 450, 500 horsepower conventional looking tractor, but felt when we tried them both that there wasn't much difference, particularly in performance, and this perhaps just ticked a few more boxes.
Perfect. And if I cast my mind back to about 2016, I know you were part of the focus group that travelled out to Germany, and you saw the first mule of an Axion with TERRA TRAC on board. How has it managed, from what you earlier saw, to transform onto a full production machine?
Well, I went with a bit of a mind of not really wanting to go down the track route, having just left sort of a big 4-track, 500 horsepower 4-track model and going to Xerion, back to tyres, because we were struggling with reliability and the issues of a track machine historically. But actually, when I saw this and the principle behind it, when we saw the original mule and drawings, it was a whole different principle in what a track machine's going to be. And today we've got what was promised and talked about there, really. So compared to what we were looking at back in 2016 to what we've got now is probably, the same machine.
So with the introduction of the Pre-Series back in 2019, the opportunity fell at your door to take one of those machines. I don't think from our conversations that we've had, it fell quite at the right time. How is this now with the first production machine coming to the UK? How has it fitted in?
Yeah, really well. So I suppose the reason we weren't standoffish from a Pre-Series, but it didn't fit predominantly on workload and age of the machine it was replacing. But workload's increased, and we felt that we needed to give the sort of Xerion a leg up in what it was doing. And having now used it for 900 hours within 12 months, it's sort of performed beyond where we'd hoped, and is doing everything we wanted to do and more.
So the TERRA TRAC unit comes from our Paderborn factory. You know it from your combine product that you've got on farm already. The comfort is a big part of this tractor, and how has that fitted in with what you guys do with the machine on farm?
Well, I think with it replacing a lot of its workload, replacing a standard wheeled conventional tractor, and a comfy one at that was an important factor. And one thing which had put us off on the half-track principle, and having run track machines prior, was the comfort was pretty awful down the road, really, and anything sort of high speed and on a hard surface. Having moved to this now, to be honest, it performs just as well as a wheeled tractor does in those applications. Surprisingly so, if I'm being honest. It was better than we'd expected it to be, and with a little bit of weight on the back, you wouldn't know it wasn't wheeled.
And your workload for the machine then 50-50 between transport and field applications?
Yeah, we won't do a lot of road transport as in like general haulage, but it will do a lot of pulling in the harvest. It will do sort of 300-400 hours on a grain chaser, which is sort of similar, I guess. It's flying around the field at 40 kilometers an hour, and the comfort for that is probably better than the wheeled tractor. And then when it's not doing that, it's doing sort of helping the Xerion. It does all of our seeding on the farm now, and a small area of cultivation when it needs to fill the gaps in. But that was the big thing for us. It was the fact that it was able to do all of those jobs and being able to, without altering it. I think what we found with the Xerion, as brilliant as it is, but we take weight on and off it to get it to perform what we're wanting to do. Whereas with this, other than taking the front box off the front linkage, then we generally don't need to alter it, and it performs admirably in both tasks.
And working in a controlled traffic environment, I guess looking after your soil is one of the most important things on your farm. And how has the TERRA TRAC system helped with that?
So we've always either ran tracks or large flotation tyres, and as the tyre technology's improved and we've introduced things like tyre inflation, so it's always something we've always been high up our list really in everything we do, and the TERRA TRAC just fits within that. We've seen it in the combine historically, and then it's been such a revelation in the combine. It seemed a sensible route to go to on a tractor when it came.
Yeah, and you spoke about drilling applications. How have you found the headland turning with the assisted steering on the machine?
So being a track machine, obviously we're having used a lot of tracks machines historically, 4 tracks, twin tracks, headland turning was an issue. The easy answer to this isn't an issue. It's just the same as a wheeled tractor. You don't notice it.
So your local dealer is CLAAS Eastern at Sleaford. How far back does your relationship stem with them?
Well, our first Lexion combine would have been back in about 2001. Having been on another manufacturer prior to that, and from that point onwards we sort of wondered why we'd never been running a Lexion combine prior to that. And I suppose the important bit for me really is the backup we get from Eastern, and that's not just backup if something breaks, it's backup if we break something. Eastern supported obviously by CLAAS UK, and then obviously CLAAS worldwide from a parts point of view has been pretty faultless. I don't think I can really think of any time where we've even been let down. Yeah, it's the number one priority now for me when I'm buying a product is the fact that when it breaks or we break it, that we're supported as we should be, and there's no one close to CLAAS on that.
And this is the first time you've actually taken the CLAAS on CLAAS solution when it comes to GPS product, and how have you found the transition this time?
Yeah, no, fine. I was fed up of putting third-party market steering boxes on other tractors, because there was always an issue if one wasn't working and one needed a software update and it didn't have warranty on it when the tractor had warranty on it. So there's the main principle was when we bought from this tractor onwards that we were going to then take the sort of factory fitted option, and it's been fine. Yeah, the box is ready for an update, and obviously that's around the corner now. We see that with the new box, but yeah, it works fine.
And I was looking over your shoulder earlier on when you were looking at your telematics app, and I think the guys are going to start combining shortly.
Yep.
How do you find the data that you can receive from these machines?
Yeah, I mean, I've become a bit addicted to telematics really, and find it a useful, or very important management tool. It allows me to sort of keep an eye on everything without annoying people, and we use it also for record keeping. So again, we use a third-party crop recording software system, but telematics is very useful because it sort of records everything even if we haven't asked it to. So if we've got a query where we haven't recorded something ourselves, we go back to it, and obviously in the future that's all going to be automated and they'll talk to each other. So no, I hope it improves, because it's something which we are starting to rely on dramatically. And
for fuel usage, do you keep an eye on that through your telematics app? And how have you found the fuel usage on the 900 TT?
Yeah, exactly. One of the prime reasons why we have telematics, because it records it, and it takes a human error away from recording it. And as far as the fuel usage on the tractor goes, yeah, it's good. And like anything with CVT, when it's working hard, it uses the same amount of diesel as a power shift will do when it's working hard. But as soon as you back that off slightly, that's where you see the big savings, and certainly no complaints from a fuel usage point of view.
So after running an Axion 960 TERRA TRAC for 12 months, how would you sum up the machine's been for you?
Yeah, I mean, it's gone beyond expectation really. Its comfort is beyond any track machine we've ever been part with or used. It's got a huge power to weight ratio, so therefore we're finding we're not having to plaster it in weight for it to perform in a high draft, high drawbar point of view. And for that horsepower bracket, I just think there's nothing to come close to it.